Back, movie guy Will Meyer is here. We're talking about the top movies in the box office. Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, good to see you too.
So the first one we're talking about today is Jurassic World, and this movie, the first installment of the remake, did really well.
Yeah, fifth highest grossing movie of all time, which is just insane. So a lot of pressure for this one to succeed. But it stars Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard once more, and this time they have to go to back to the island to rescue the dinosaurs after a volcano erupts. They think that they're taking them to a sanctuary, but little do they know they're actually handing them over to some rich and powerful people who want to weaponize them and then auction them off to the highest bidder. So, you know, like I said, a lot of pressure for it to succeed. I don't know if it will do as well as that first one financially, but I do think it is a little bit better than that last film. Now, I should say I'm not really a big fan of the last film. I thought it was just this nostalgia-fueled, risk-averse corporate product, but this one feels a little more like an actual movie. You can feel the hand of the director behind this one, and that is J.A. Bayona, and he injects a lot of gothic horror elements into his movies, and he does that here, which is interesting. If you've seen the second trailer, you know that a lot of this movie takes place in a house, and so it's really neat because half of this film feels kind of like a haunted house movie. So it's interesting, nice change of pace. Doesn't entirely work, but it is interesting nevertheless. I think that he does a good job with the action too. There's some great chase scenes in this film, a lot of narrow escapes, jump scares, all the stuff you would expect from a Jurassic Park movie. But there are zero, and I mean zero, surprises in this film, Daniel. I mean, I know that it's
wow.
Yeah, it's just. I know that it's difficult to recreate for the audience that sense of awe and wonder that you felt when you saw the first Jurassic Park film, because there really was nothing like it. But I do feel like with these sequels, none of them have really been that imaginative or that inventive, and so there's really a sameness that you feel while watching this movie, and that is, you know, largely due in part to the script here that kind of just recycles the same storyline, the same themes. It's really just, you know, man meddling with nature and suffering the consequences. Again, you know, warns about the dangers of cloning, protecting endangered species. I mean, we've seen this before. So it passed the time just fine, though. I mean, I enjoyed myself, but I'm not going to be rushing out to see it again. So I think most people are going to think it's okay.
Okay.
Great. I'd say
kind of a tough verdict.
2.5 out of 4.
You think the series is extinct after this?
I don't know where you can go with it at this point, but maybe they'll find a way. So.
They probably will. Okay, next up is Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Yeah, this is a
almost close.
You Won't Be My Neighbor. This is a documentary about Fred Rogers, the creator and star of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. You know, a fascinating guy for so many reasons. One, he really revolutionized children's television. Also, he seemed to be just the nicest guy on planet Earth, and so a lot of people who grew up watching this show feel like they have a connection to him. This movie isn't trying to, you know, blow the lid off everything. It's not filled with mind-blowing revelations about Fred Rogers. It's really just trying to reintroduce you to this guy, tell you who he was, what he stood for, what he accomplished, and why those accomplishments were so profound, and hope you'll take away something from this film. I took away that he was really radical, which is something I didn't fully appreciate. You know, this was a guy who was doing the opposite of everything that was popular on television. His producer said, if you take all the elements of popular television and do the exact opposite, you have Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. An unlikely star, you know, low production value, simple sets, but somehow it worked. And I think that's largely because of his philosophy. He spoke honestly and directly to children about a number of issues, and he took their feelings as seriously as you would take the feelings of adults, and so you know, really connected with a lot of people. Also radical because Daniel, he did shows for kids on war, divorce, assassination. It's just so bold, especially for the 1960s. Yeah, so you get to know a lot about the man too. You learn that he is pretty much as nice as he was on TV. Of course, he is flawed, which you discover, but it actually makes him more human and more relatable. So I was enormously moved by this movie, though. I have not heard people cry as much in a theater or clap as loudly as they did in a long time. I loved it. If you grew up watching Mr. Rogers, this is a must-see. 4 out of 4 stars.
Wow, 4 out of 4 stars. Okay, let's see if The Incredibles can do that too.
The Incredibles 2, this is the long-awaited sequel to the 2004 Pixar animation classic. You know, it's been 14 years since that last movie came out, and even though it's been 14 years, it's picking up right where that last one left off, except this time Elastigirl is going out to save the day while Mr. Incredible stays home and takes care of the kids. You know, I can understand why it took that long as far as the animation goes, because it really is spectacular in this movie. You can just, it's so incredibly detailed, you'll find yourself just focusing on really minute details like Elastigirl's hair. It just all looks so amazing. These action set pieces are really pretty tremendous too. They're so well conceived and executed and really are pretty thrilling. This movie, though, is not incredible in terms of its story. I think that they could have taken a little more time on that. The A storyline involving Elastigirl trying to stop this screenslaver villain. That really just feels like a villain we've seen before. The 5-year-old girl who sat beside me during this movie predicted the ending in the first 5 minutes. So, and it has sort of a hypocritical message from Disney too, I think. But you know, in the B storyline about Mr. Mom, we've seen that before. But thankfully, Jack is in that storyline, and he is the source of all that is fun, exciting, unpredictable in this movie. So I did enjoy this film. My expectations were super high, though.
The verdict?
Overall, 3 out of 4. I think it's good, not incredible. So
3 out of 4.
Yeah.
Incredibles. Will Meyer says is not incredible. We will end it with that, and we can check out your Facebook page.
yeah, Facebook.com/Will Meyer, the movie guy.
Cool. Will, thanks so much. We're going to
Thanks for
send
having
things
me.
over.